Hello, beautiful, shining, healthy souls. Welcome to the Reset to a Healthier You program. My name is Justine, your companion and guide in this 60-day journey. For those who have stumbled upon this video, I invite you to click on the link above or in the description box to learn more about the Reset to a Healthier You program. With that said, let's continue with this week's video. Did you know that there are 6 types of human hunger? When I learned about this from Eric Edmead's Wild Feet Masterclass at Mind Valley, it totally transformed my relationship with food. To start with, I don't really impose any rules on what I eat and do not eat. Now, having said that, I did occasionally feel guilty and regretful for eating something I know is not good for me, especially whenever I find myself overeating because of stress. Learning about the 6 types of hunger made me more aware of my body's cues on what type of hunger I'm experiencing. And this awareness allowed me to make empowered choices on how I respond to hunger. Even when I choose to satisfy a craving or eat more processed food whenever I feel stressed, there's no guilt around it anymore because I made a conscious choice to eat those foods. Now, this is not an excuse for me to just eat whatever I want, but whenever I do eat those things that are not really good for me, it's okay. I can just let it go, let it be, and then move on from there. So, anyway, before we continue to this week's focus theme, here's an overview of the 6 types of hunger. Just having this awareness is already a game changer for me, and I hope that it will be for you as well. So, first we have the nutritional hunger. So, according to Edmeades, this is the only genuine form of hunger. The other 5 might imitate this, but only nutritional hunger tells you when your body needs more nutrients. The second type of hunger is thirst. This is a type of hunger that really made a huge shift for me. So before, I didn't know that most of what I thought and feel as hunger is actually my body feeling thirsty. So before, when I feel hungry, I will reach for a snack. But now, when I feel hunger, and checking in my body, I noticed that it's just thirsty. So drinking water alleviates this what I'm feeling. Okay. And then the third type of hunger is variety. So our body naturally craves variety in a diet to make sure that it receives the full range of necessary nutrients. And sometimes just changing up our menu will make us feel full and satisfied. So I think maybe this is why like most of the diets um, doesn't work. That doesn't really work because we are restricting ourselves to certain like kinds of foods. So the variety it triggers this type of hunger, the variety. So anyway, moving on. Number 4, low blood sugar. The rise and fall of our blood sugar after eating low quality sugars can also make us feel hungry, even after we eat. So observe yourself, try to remember when you're eating too much carbohydrates and sweets. So isn't it right that we feel hungry again, like after like a short amount of time? So why? Because it triggers this sugar crash in us, so we feel hungry again. So just avoiding low quality sugars as often as possible and even limiting natural sugar sources could help this type of hunger. Now the fifth one is emotional hunger. This is one of the most common yet dangerous types of dysfunctional eating. And yeah, like I said, it's very common today. Um, we connected food with emotions, and the food industry knows how to prey on these powerful feelings. So, according to admins, um, and also from my personal experience, right? Like just having this awareness, like we learn to see past the advertisements, and it gives us a better chance of not falling into the trap of this advertising strategies. But that's for the external. We This also encompasses the internal emotional hunger. So whenever we feel like stressed or like lonely, like just there's this emotional need that needs to be filled and needs to be addressed, needs to be recognized and acknowledged. But because we are not that aware, we might eat our emotions. Like we tend to eat our emotions, right? So that is where that saying comes from. So notice again yourself when you're feeling stressed or feeling sad, um, or like even like when when you don't have enough sleep, you also tend to overeat. So this is that type of hunger, emotional hunger. Now, having said that, there are people who reacts the opposite way. So when they are feeling stressed and stuff, they actually do not feel that hungry. Okay, so it's both are true. Okay. Anyway, the last type of human hunger is empty stomach hunger. So, according to admits, when our ancestors were faced with perpetual feast or famine conditions, they learned to eat their fill whenever they had access to food. So, now we always have the feast but never famine. And we need to recognize that this is a response, an instinctive response that we got from our ancestors. Okay, so it's like the fight, flight, freeze response, and our response to fear as well. So our body's getting triggered, right? So and it is protecting us because it doesn't want us to be um, to not have enough nutrients and energy for the time that there's a famine. But again, because we are not experiencing that now anymore, we need to recognize this feeling and tell ourselves that it's okay. um, we have access to food, so we don't need to like um, eat and eat and eat. Okay, so it's okay to stop eating when we're not hungry anymore. The real type of hunger. So, anyway, so that's the six types of human hunger. Um, I will be putting a link on the description box that will lead you to a form to sign up to watch Eric and Meet's masterclass at Mind Valley. So check it out. I invite you to check it out and watch the masterclass because that is really like jam packed, full of like information that really transformed, that could really transform your relationship with food and eating as well. So, yeah. So, anyway, moving on, understanding these different types of hunger is just one of the many steps that we can take to transform how we experience food and eating. So, from mindlessly and automatically reacting when we feel hunger, we can now start to respond more mindfully and consciously to our body's cues. Now, a little disclaimer here, some people who have experienced trauma or those who are struggling with an eating disorder or body image disturbance may need to consult with a professional before starting with this practice, since connecting with their body may not be possible or safe at this time for them, and that's okay. So just, you know, having that awareness again, like if you need to seek professional help, then please do so. Okay, so with that, let's continue with our focus theme for week 6, which is mindful eating. So mindful eating is an essential practice in cultivating our holistic health and wellness. The intention behind this practice is not to follow rigid rules about food, nutrition, and eating in order to achieve a certain goal, which is what most diets are doing, right? Or the purpose or the intention behind most diets. So, anyway, mindful eating is an invitation for us to be fully present in our experience of eating, from buying to preparing to serving and finally to consuming the food we eat. When we eat mindfully, we are paying attention to an eating experience with all of our senses. This means seeing, tasting, hearing, smelling, and feeling. So we also witness the emotional and physical responses that take place before, during, and after the eating experience. So witnessing meaning that we are wearing our observer's hat and we're releasing any judgment about how we are feeling and how our body is responding. So we're just taking notice, we're observing and taking notice of what is arising in us. Okay? So, while mindful eating is an individual practice, it is also an invitation for us to become more aware of where our foods are coming from. So, thinking of the interconnectedness of earth, living beings, and even like cultural practices that contributed to the food that we are eating, as well as the impact of our food choices to these systems. In practicing mindful eating, we unlearn the things that we have been taught about food, health, and well being. Now, this doesn't mean that everything that we have been taught is not true. However, instead of just blindly following what other people are saying about what and how we should eat, we learn to tune in to the wisdom of our own body. So, by becoming more aware of our physical cues to hunger, how we respond to the food we eat, and how we feel before, during, and after eating, we are creating a space to make conscious and empowered choices that best support our health and well being. So, how we experience food is unique and different from each one of us, okay? So also like what our food or what our body needs is also different. So we need to consider all these things, okay? So in mindful eating, we are able to reconnect to the innate wisdom of our body and build trust in ourselves and our decisions. Accept and respect the body we have, discovering how our body is supporting our optimal health and vitality, and at the same time, learning about how we can support our body in return. Open to the possibility of freeing ourselves from our reactive patterns around food and eating, appreciating food and fully enjoy the eating experience instead of restricting ourselves and feeling shame or guilt, and becoming more aware of our interconnectedness with our planet and all beings. So, what do you think is the biggest culprit for mindless eating? No clue? Let me ask you a follow up question. When was the last time that you ate without a distraction? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest culprit to mindless eating is distraction. So, This could be attributed to our fast paced, highly digital, and connected world. And we also live in a world where in busyness and multitasking are worn as badge of honors. So think about it. Some of us eat with the TV or radio on, some while reading newspaper, magazine, or book, some while scrolling through social media or chatting in our phones. Some even eat while they are driving, commuting, or walking towards their next destination, and some while working or attending to other activities. And by the way, these are just external distractions. Aside from this, we also have those internal distractions, meaning our monkey minds that keep our attention away from the experience of eating. So, in short, we are so used to eating without really having that full awareness of what we just ate. So, our body is feeling full already, but our mind is not able to receive the signals or the cues from our body because we are distracted. So, no wonder we are not fully attuned, right, with our physical cues, and we tend to overeat. So I would like to stress here that this is not your fault. We have been conditioned to experience eating this way. But now that we know better, we can start choosing better for ourselves and for our family as well. So, to start our practice of mindful eating, we first need to learn how to slow down so we can really pay attention and savor our food. So slowing down allows us to notice and observe how our body is communicating with us. Listening to our body's cues allow us to gain awareness of how food makes us feel before, during, and after a meal. We have better understanding of what motivates us to eat. So again, going back to the six types of human hunger. And we also have this deeper appreciation for our unique moment to moment experience with food, as well as gratitude for Mother Earth and all beings who contributed to the production, distribution, preparation, and serving of these foods to our table. So, here are some of the ways that we could start incorporating mindful eating in our daily life. So, number one, set a time and place to eat and just eat. So lose the distractions, both external and internal. Number two, prepare one dish, and as you're preparing, engage all your senses and be fully present in the act of cutting, slicing, peeling, stirring, tasting, smelling, etc. Number three, take a moment to appreciate the food on your table. So look at it, smell it, feel your mouth salivating as you're, anticipating the taste of the food. So really be in that moment. Number four, send a prayer of gratitude to all beings who made it possible for you to enjoy your meal. Number five, bring into our awareness those who are not able to enjoy food as we are able to enjoy our food. So this is not really to bring in feelings of guilt, but this is so we can really appreciate what we have and bring ourselves into really savoring and enjoying the food that we have. Next is number six. So take a few deep, steady breaths before you eat. So that simple act actually could help your digestion. So according to studies, like taking deep, steady breaths before eating increases the digestive enzymes that help break down food so your body can absorb nutrients. Okay. So number seven, before starting your meal, quickly check in and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What is motivating me to eat? Am I really hungry, or is this to satisfy a craving or a need? So when asking these questions, come from a space of curiosity. Okay, so just ask for the sake of asking. Notice what answer arises, and then leave it as it is. Okay, you don't need to like change anything. Okay, so just notice what arises and then continue with eating. Um, Number eight, start with a small portion, then check in with yourself after you finish the food on your plate. Ask yourself, how full am I right now? Am I still hungry or am I feeling satisfied already? So, according to studies, it takes about 20 minutes for our body to register that it is full. So, starting with a small portion could help not only in controlling the portion, so we tend to finish the food on our plate, but we don't really need to finish the food on our plate. Okay, we can just say no if we are feeling full already. But having said that, starting with a small portion, so we minimize food waste, right? Um, and we can better control the amount of food that we consume. And then we can also check in with ourselves, like, are we still hungry? And then last, for your first bite, chew your food thoroughly. So about 20 to 40 times, depending on the food, before swallowing. So really notice like the texture of the food as you slowly chew it. Notice what experience or what taste comes up as you chew your food. So yeah. So, how about you? Can you think of other small action steps that you can start doing to help slow down and savor the experience of eating? Whatever you choose, remember to start small. Okay, choose one meal wherein you can implement your chosen action step and make it easier for yourself to show up. Consider your unique situation and choose what would best serve you. Okay. So now let's take a look at how this week will look like. We always start our days with setting an intention. And for this week, the intention is today I am slowing down and savoring my food. Again, today I am slowing down and savoring my food. And then commit to assume you're healthy yourself by choosing one of the options I've mentioned. Or you may also think of your own small inspired action step to take. Okay, depending on your unique situation. Okay, so loving reminders. Again, so accept what is. Okay, whatever arises in you as you do this practice, just allow it and accept it to be what it is. You do not need to change the experience. You do not need to change anything. But what you can do instead is, if after noticing you feel that you want to respond differently, then do so. So follow um, that inspiration, that pull to respond differently. Because as we are learning to tune into our bodies, we will have that more intuitive response to how we are eating and how we are experiencing our food. Okay? But for whatever is arising in you, just notice and accept it. Okay? And then remember that mindful eating is a process oriented approach. We are not here to achieve a certain goal. Okay, so you don't need to be stressed about this experience. Okay, because if you're feeling stressed, then we are not being mindful. Okay, we're going back to accepting what is. So just enjoy the experience, enjoy whatever is arising. and just allow yourself to fully experience this mindful eating. And even if you find yourself finding it difficult to slow down, notice it as well and be in that experience. See what arises in you. Okay, what is making it difficult for you? So take notice of that. Okay, and then patience is the key. So this will take time. Okay, so just continue on showing up. Again, we're starting with small action steps because we want it to be easier for ourselves to show up and commit to our action steps, to commit to the practice. But we are also creating that space to do more. So just be patient with yourself and continue to show up. Okay. Again, I want to mention again the little disclaimer from the beginning of this video. So some people who have experienced trauma or are struggling with an eating disorder or body image disturbance may need to consult with a professional before starting this practice because connecting with their body may not be possible for them or safe at this time. So if this is you, so please consider consulting with a professional to help guide you in this practice. Okay? So for those who sign up to formally join the program, okay, so please complete your accountability check-in forms, and I will be continuing, or I am continuing sending the email reminders um, to remind you of this practice for this week. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for showing up, and I'm super excited for what will unfold for you as we continue on with this 60-day journey. I'll see you again next week for the next part of our journey. Until then, keep shining and enjoy resetting to a healthier you. Peace, love, and light.